All right, shalom. First off, I want to start up by saying all praises, honor, and glory is due unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai by Hashem Kakadash. That's all praises to the world calls God, whose true name in Hebrew is Yahweh, by Hashem meaning in the name, Yahushai being in the name, the only begotten Son. I also want to say double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the hopeful elect preaching His word in truth and sincerity on the brother Tazabah in the Great Millstone, Arizona camp. Lord will with another video to edify. And I wanted to hit on this video. I've been meaning to get to it, and seeing that one of the elders out there in Dallas put it up, Elder Yashawamba put up this video. I wanted to touch on it because these are things that you should be scrutinizing, right? The fact that the supposed next U.S. Supreme Court justice is talking about the Israelites is something that you should be, scrutinizing. So you got to really, and Lord will, I put on my spirit to do it, but you got to really pay attention to this whole grilling that they're doing for her to get into that seat, because what's going to come off the back of it, the possibilities are endless on how far the persecution is going to go and how it may start. Now, let me get this. Look at this. Yeah, this is Ecclesiastes 2:14. The wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. You see, the wise man's eyes are in his head, meaning you're contemplating in thought, constantly thinking about, how does this affect me? What this is going into. Right? The wise man's eyes are in his head. You're always looking at things and really scrutinizing things. It says, but the fool walketh in darkness. I myself perceive also that one event happened into them all, and the fool walks in darkness. A fool will look at this situation and be like, hey, yeah, Israelite. Nah, man. You telling me that they're gonna sit here and let this woman talk about the Israelites in any positive light without an ulterior motive? We're in the year 2022, and things are popping, bro. Prophecy is popping off, and Esau is seeing that Jake is a problem, right? They see the body is growing. They see brothers are consistently just coming in, right? People leaving the Christian church, and now here this stuff comes. Now I'm gonna play what she said, and I'm gonna get part of the grilling from a prior day, right?
This is just weird. Check this out. There's all of this weird stuff. But we can't just let these things slip.
People who believe in vegan lifestyles, they call themselves the African Hebrew Israelites, but it's not a religious community. It's a cult.
Now, we'll start that over. There was just a issue. There was just a situation where parents had their children taken away from them who were somewhat Israelites because they were feeding them a vegan diet, and the children, basically they took the children away because supposedly the children were malnourished. So there's all type of agendas going on right now, but just listen to this nigga.
People who believe in vegan lifestyles, they call themselves the African Hebrew Israelites, but it's not a religious community. It's a cultural community around healthy living.
And that's what you got to take. She basically, what her understanding is, Hebrew Israelites is only a culture, right? They believe this thing is something that we just chose to be in, right? That ultimately you're not those people, so this isn't going to be a persecution of people. This is what she sums up in her mind now. Peep this other grilling. Peep this other grilling now. Ultimately, he asked a question that feeds into this, and you heard her mindset about Israelites. You got to understand they're asking her a bunch of questions in this particular video. They're asking her a bunch of questions with the first few constitutional clauses, and he hits at something that deals with religion. Now, if they don't see us as a valid religion, and she's saying we're just a culture, and they get the nigger woman in there at this time at the height of tensions, and ultimately we see what, how do you say it, a playing field getting set for them to basically scrutinize and persecute the church. We see these things happening, right? Now she's gonna come in as, oh, she's an expert. She's black too, right? Now listen to this. Peep this.
That had been litigated before the Supreme Court of the United States involving the Little Sisters of the Poor with regard to the Affordable Care Act mandate on contraception coverage?
Yes.
Now, the Little Sisters of the Poor are a benevolent group of nuns. I think there are about 300 of them that take care of elderly and infirm individuals. And of course, as a matter of their religious beliefs, as documented in the court's opinions, they don't believe in either contraception or abortion. Do you agree with that?
Now for them, they're given the respect of a religious belief. Now peep what she says, right?
I believe that was described in the case that you're talking about.
I think that's right, too.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when the Affordable Care Act mandated that every health insurance policy contain coverage for contraception or chemically induced abortions, they objected and said that this violated their conscience and their free exercise of religion rights under the First Amendment.
Now, does a culture have that? And I took the time to look up culture defined by law. Now it says legal culture refers to the shared values, attitudes, standards, and beliefs that characterize members of a legal profession and define its nature. It may also refer to the idea, values, attitudes, and opinions people in some society hold with regard to law and legal systems. Now, ultimately, if she's already sitting there putting us into a culture, instead of us being a nation with our own beliefs, right? Can a culture be scrutinized under law? Right? When they sit here and scrutinize certain things in the world that they don't view are right, does not the Supreme Court litigate on that matter? Right? And when you go forward in this video, see if I
It's under the first Obama administration during the Trump, like the Little Sister. Are you familiar with the fact that President Biden can exclude?
First Amendment, understanding Constitution, religious freedom is a core foundational constitutional right. It's in the First Amendment of the Constitution and reflects the founding fathers, in large part, the idea of pluralism, the idea that of the foundation that when it comes to federal regulation, if there's a substantial burden placed on religion, then the strict scrutiny standard applies.
I agree. I have 1 minute, so I have one more
Yes.
question. I agree with what you just said.
here's the meat and the potatoes right here.
Yes.
So since I have asked this question or made this point of some of your predecessors who sat in the same chair and expressed my concern about some of the court's establishment law, establishment jurisprudence, I don't want to leave you out of that concern. When I was Attorney General of Texas, I had a chance to argue a case in front of the United States Supreme Court and called it Santa Fe Independent School District versus Doe. This was a lawsuit brought by the ACLU, which sought to enjoin or prevent a student-led prayer before football games at the Santa Fe Independent School District right outside of Houston. In the end, 5 judges said that that violated the Establishment Clause of the Constitution, causing Chief Justice Rehnquist to write in his dissent that the Constitution mandates neutrality toward religion, not hostility, but that the court's decision evidenced hostility towards religious expression.
You see? Now she's being brought in as she can potentially be brought in as an expert. You get this. You know, it's real interesting that now they want to bring it up. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, at least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Ultimately, this woman's being brought in talking about the Hebrew Israelites, and she's joining the courts in a time where the scriptures tell you that, you know, there's going to be persecution for the word's sake. They're going to bring us into, you know, the noble, into the gate of the nobles, and we shall prophesy against them for a witness, right? Basically, it's roughly paraphrasing, but ultimately she's being brought in for this cause. You know, the possibilities are endless with this. Now the Israelites are getting pumped out into the mainstream. At what point, you know, with these bitter words, like, let me get this, this is Psalms 64:3. It says, who whet their tongue like swords and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, man. Right? To twist the truth. So ultimately, these are things you got to keep your eye on, man. These are things you got to keep your eye on in winter time where you can't sleep. Right? We do not sleep in the daytime as others do. Right? So Lord willing, this is just a quick hit, man. Just wanted to touch on this, tie these two things together. Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to say shalom.